G'day boys, and welcome to the Fantrax Fantasy Recap. First of all, a massive fuck you to Aaron Mitchell, aka Jerry Smith. Newcastle are trash, mate. Cool. Thank you to our Commissioner Mitt for giving us this opportunity to give a recap every week. He's been finding his place on the spectrum and has decided to be heavy with inclusivity and engagement, which for the record I respect tremendously. Kudos to you, mate. Once again, Aaron, Newcastle suck. Alright, moving on with the Fantrax. We got Chris versus Aaron. Yeah, not looking good for Chris. He's been inactive this whole time. As much as I hate to say it, Aaron, the dimwit, has done well by keeping his 5-0 win, much like Arsenal. 5-0 run, sorry. We all know the losses will start to trickle in soon, so enjoy it while you can, bud. Clean win for you against an inactive player, Chris. Well done. 104.5 points to 62.75. Your star performers are Salah with 18.5, Foden with 13.2, and Bernardo Silva with 12.5, which is pretty solid fantasy points per game. Your worst performance in your team were your defenders, Tarkowski, Webster, and Perisic on 8.8 and 9.45. All in all, not a bad game. Decent performance. Newcastle still stuck though. As for losers, I'm not even going to start talking about someone Aaron beat who is inactive in the league. Not going to mention any names, but an inactive player had more points in this game week than a certain someone. Piers. Yep. Moving on. For the fantasy, Aaron, you did well to beat the winner of last year's fantasy draft, Lucas. You showed some decent promise there, but I think you need to show some respect to Lucas because your highest scorer Sancho got you 10 points, which was traded to you by Lucas himself. Lucas, I know it's a rough loss for you, mate, but your game plan is pretty clear. I know you want to get in those new boys, but chin up, lad. You'll be back to overtake this Newcastle supporter very soon. Aaron, you won 44-28. Your top scorers were Sancho with 10, Gordon with 8, and Zaha with 7. 25 total points from 3 players, almost as many times as you went to the toilet on draft day. Your lowest scorers were Lewis Dunk with a -1. Nice. Sanchez, the goalkeeper from Brighton, for 1, and Ings with 1. Lucas, your top players were Lloris on 5, Sterling with 8, and Fernandes with 3. And your lowest scorers were Cucurella, Thiago Silva, Ronaldo, and Ben Davies, all on 1 point. Righto. Moving on to the next game in Fantrax. Well done to Lucas for beating the Goblin Peers. 71 points to a shocking 39.25. Lucas, your top performers were Harry Kane with 8, Nathan Collins from Wolves with 12.5, and Harvey Elliott with 7.5. Well played, mate. Worst performers were Casemiro with 3, Vardy with 2, and Højbjerg with 3.5. Piers, quite frankly, that's a shocker from you. Not even going to analyze your player scores because that's just bad for content at this point, much like your gaming channel. You got to switch something up there, mate. You got Lewis Dunk on -3.5. Nice. Right, moving swiftly on to the fantasy draft. Piers versus an absent Chris. Well done, Piers. You've managed to give us bad content again with basically a free win against an inactive Chris. 40 points to 3. Should I congratulate you? Probably not, but well done anyway for finally getting ahead of Chris after 5 game weeks, bud. Your top scorers were Stones with 10, Kane and Saka with 5, and Isaac on his debut with 7 points. That's a good pickup from you, I'll admit. At least it didn't go to Jerry Smith. We can all be happy with that, I agree. Your lowest scores were Rodri, Perisic, and Webster, all with 1 point each. As for Chris, his highest scorer was Moutinho on 3, and I'll leave it at that. Right, for game 3, lads. What can I say? A narrow defeat between me and Nick. I think I came up short because Brighton lost and their keeper carked it. Nick, you did well to beat me here. Your players were mostly consistent, and that was key to your win. Your best players were Mitrovic with 26 points, Firmino with 17.5, and Mount with 11.5. And your worst performers were KDB on 6, Ben Davies with 3, and Saliba with -2.25. My best players were Big Boy Haaland with 34.5, Dallo with 13.25, and Sancho with 14. My worst performers were Ward-Prowse with 0.5, Sanchez with 0, and Veltman with negative 1.5. I'd say an unlucky loss for me, but credit where it's due, Nick. You did well. Well done. As for the fantasy, same matchup again. Nick and me. Double fat L's for your boy Chandra. It's been a tough week for me. I've already shed a few tears before this, so I don't have any more tears to give, boys. Nick, you've pulled off a nice double win over me. Kudos to you. Your highest performers were Ben White with 8, Martinelli with 10, and Firmino with 9. Your worst performers were Ward-Prowse on 1, Trent on 2, and Eriksen on 3. My best 3 were Cancelo with 12, Rashford and Diaz with 6, and Dallo on 8. My worst 3 were Son, Harvey Elliott on 2, and Azpilicueta on 1. I also need to shift up my team. Hopefully this loss allows me to pick up a few players that I need desperately. Alright, on to the last matchups. We got a Fantrax matchup between Michael and Jack. Well played from our commissioner. Great win, showing some real consistency here. Your Arsenal players running the show right from the start, but how long will that last for you? I guess time will tell. Your top performers were Gabriel Jesus with 18.5, the fucking rat. Saka with 17, and Zaha and Gundogan tied with 12. And your worst performers were Barnes, 0.5, Malacia, 5, and Thiago Silva with 6. Jack, mate. Big yikes from you. You're 0-5 in Fantrax. What's going on? You need to make some serious changes to your squad for the upcoming game weeks, my friend. You had some decent performers in there once again. The Arsenal lad with 20.5, Neto with 11, and Pascal Stroik with 11.5. But still 0-5. That's poor from you, boy. Will be good to see you overtake Aaron later in Fantrax when he chokes like Newcastle does to Liverpool. Yep, and in fantasy, Michael again against Jack. Michael with the win, a close 5-point gap win over Jack this time, staying true to the title of backbone of EPL. The one who holds the Jenkins name remains victorious over the one who wants the Jenkins name. Jack Jenkins. Kind of like the sound of that, though. We'll see how that goes, eh? Michael, you did well to win 49-44 here, with your top performers being Alvarez on 12, Salah on 10, and Mount on 5. Your worst performance were Jimenez on 2, Odegaard on 1, and Joe Gomez with 2. And with those 3 players alone, you were able to defeat Jack, who had scores of Haaland and Mitrovic with 17 and 9 points. And his third highest was Foden with 4. Well played to you, our commissioner. As for Jack, at least this isn't like your Fantrax run. You might have taken an L here, but at least you're still third and more mature than Aaron. Well done. As I close out this recap, I must say what an exhilarating week it has been, both in Fantrax and Fantasy. Aaron at the top in Fantrax, and to be honest, who really gives a fuck? Nick at the top in Fantasy Draft. Will be interesting to see how things play out in the next game week. Best of luck to the boys for the upcoming game week, and peace out.